right, y'all, before we start, because some of y'all be tripping, under the advice of counsel, I got to add that the views, thoughts, opinions that are expressed on this podcast are mine and mine alone. They do not represent my employer. All right, let's go.
Because I was like, damn, do we really want to get into this discussion? Because if we get into this discussion right here, y'all.
All right, what's up, y'all? We are back with another episode of Reach My Forest Finest, the podcast, and we are back with Miss Ebony and Miss Muhammed. Continuing our conversation from last time, I want to go back to you, Miss Ebony. I know I had to put a pin. I saw you getting a little emotional. Yeah. I'm gonna try to be soft with you, but I do want to talk about some things with you. So a lot of memos and things that I've been getting messages from teachers are talking about the bullying, the intimidation, the hostile work environment, all of the things that they are dealing with. Oh, don't cry, please don't cry.
Because you said
I'm like,
that's a trigger word for me.
I'm like, don't cry, don't cry.
Memo is a trigger word for me.
But and we've seen on social media where some of your HISD colleagues have literally been posting the memos that they have been receiving for not complying with the NES standards, right? I saw some memos that, hey, you were at the board teaching. Yeah, we saw you teaching. You were doing whatever. But in the back, little Johnny had his cell phone in his crotch, and now I'm holding you accountable for that.
Right.
You were teaching, your students are all engaged in a lesson,
right,
but you didn't have your DOL on the board.
Right.
And so here's a memo from that. Like, and the memos are not casual, friendly, you know, where I'm like, hey, girl, don't forget to put that DOL on the board, or girl, Mookie was in the back on his phone.
Right.
They are official letterhead. You did not follow ABC. HISD board policy states, and it's like, whoa.
But here's the gotcha though: when you ask for a copy of the entire policy, no one ever give it to you. They're going to these policies and pulling out this one key word for the whole gamut. Give me the entire policy, because if you give me the entire policy, then maybe I'm innocent. But that's not you.
I don't care about your innocence.
We're doing everything to fit a narrative.
You didn't do what I said.
Yes, and so I will say, you know, you talk about the memos, but my boss might give me a memo, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she's the one who wrote it,
right?
That she witnessed the behavior.
Absolutely.
You know, so I can't say what type of duress he or she, you know, our direct reports might be under to sign off on something that they may or may not have witnessed. You know, and if you can imagine how that makes the relationship strained, you know, because you have somebody that's actually there and wants to help and is working hard, you know. But they're being put under so much pressure. But that word memo for me is triggering, because there's a lot of hostility around it.
Yeah.
I have to question myself every day. I'm in education because I love to teach. I've always wanted to be a teacher, right? I love to teach, and if you come in my classroom, it's evident, right? But there are days when people are walking by with clipboards. It could be nothing on the clipboards. I have no clue what's on these clipboards, right? And they're looking in your class, but when it's happening every 15 to 20 minutes, and you're trying to teach a class, and you have your students reading out loud, and you have them, you know, in circles, and they're, you know, it's like, dang, I can't even hear what's happening and model like an exemplar answer. When, you know, you want to teach, right? That's your goal, to teach. It might be a little bit discouraging. You have to ask yourself, like, what do you want to prioritize? Showing up the next day, right? Or teaching. And sometimes that means that, like, I can't teach to the highest quality, or if I do, I'm choosing to not like just focus on cell phones and focus on engaging material and pray that that's enough. Now, I will say that that I've never been a teacher to allow, you know, mobile devices like in my class, especially during direct instruction. So that's something I'm checking for. But you have the added stress of having someone lurking all the time, or someone coming in, you know, or while you're on duty standing at threshold, someone walking by with a clipboard. So when we think of hostility, it does not always mean someone yelling, right? It means putting a person in such a disarray that they can't check all the points, you know what I mean? Or they can't make the best decisions for their mental health because there are so many points and boxes to check. Just anything that's overloaded, it'll start to shut down. And I think that's how I felt. I have felt bullied. You know, I have spoken out. against some leaders, a specific leader, my principal, and I have felt bullied about it. Not directly. I've also felt, in a sense, gaslighted, when I've asked questions and it's like, I don't know. And so I'm forced to make a decision, and then that decision is later on,
you're on the memo.
Question.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you got a memo.
And this person knows what they told me. They know what they told me. So now it's like, do you teach a class or do you CYA? You know what I mean? And like, do I have to detail a conversation from start to finish every time we have a conversation?
You
do. And then we have to think about their, we all got the same amount of hours in a day as Beyonce. I do agree. But I don't have somebody to document every single conversation,
Right.
And so I always err on the side of passion and like say, hey, I'm here for the right reasons.
I like that.
I'm going to teach my students. I'm going to teach these kids. When people are like, what are we going to do when NES came? I'm going to teach these kids.
Teach.
Like, this is what I came here to do. I'm gonna teach these children.
I want to. You said something earlier about like managing your students and not ever being a teacher that allows cell phones in a classroom, right? Because a lot of this, when you hear comments or you see comments on social media from people who have never ever set foot in a classroom, right?
Right.
As far as from them being a student in the classroom,
right?
And they love to say that it's a classroom management issue, right? They act like classroom management is the easiest thing in the world. Because I always say you either got it or you don't. You either are a person that when you walk in the door, your kids are going to respect from jump. Or they're not. You're not going to work your way up to respect. You're not going to work your way up to running your classroom, like a tight ship. And me, I think I have the best classroom management in the world. I feel like I could go anywhere and teach, and I'm a vibe with my kids because I respect kids. I've never been a dictator.
You respect
I respect kids, and I know a lot of people don't feel like kids are deserving of respect, but I'm always vocal about it. I do believe kids are deserving of
Absolutely,
respect.
people.
And that's why I have the rapport with kids that I do. Some people don't like it, whatever. But I'm the person, one of the people in my building that if Lil John in the 6th grade is cutting up, hey, go to Miss Smith class because I'm gonna love on you. I'm gonna get you together too, right?
I'm gonna get right.
But as much as we have that, and I'm talking to y'all, I could tell that we're all kind of one and the same as far as our classroom management style goes. You always gonna have somebody buck the system, right? One of my best students, in we have National Junior Honor Society. They could be a stellar kid. Yeah. Hell, they can't resist this little thing right here.
Right.
So even though I say no phones, no watches, they may tuck it up under here. And it's not that they're disrespecting me. It's not that they don't want to. Right. But shit, my boyfriend just texted me and told me to come take a restroom break and actually go to the restroom. So I want to go to the restroom.
Right.
And it's not that they don't respect me. It's not that they are deliberately trying to undermine me or undermine my authority in my classroom. Just being kids.
Yes.
Right? Now, is it a problem? Hell yeah, it's a problem. I'm never going to say that it's not a problem.
Right.
You can't sit up in my classroom and do this all day while I'm talking. No.
You cannot.
I allow devices to be used in my class for instruction. If I'm done teaching and I say, okay, now I want you to Google, I want you this, because we don't have everybody got a Chromebook in my classroom. We don't have that in my school district. So yeah, use your Googles and do this, or work on Canva and do this. And I don't have enough computers, but you got your iPad and you got your MacBook and you got your Chromebook. Pull it out and work, right? I don't have a problem with that. But I don't like the narrative that if 38 kids in your classroom are on point, but the 39th and the 40th are over here on the cell phone, that now you are a bad teacher.
Now I'm a bad teacher.
I don't like that.
But I think that's how, not to cut you off, I think that's how it is now. No matter what, even my school, I'm a specialized A campus. That means everybody in my school should be high performing. That's utopia. Mm-hmm. However, our focus every day is these, let's just say 20 students who are low performing, always doing this. Like we're doing all these different things for these ones that's not following, and we're leaving the good ones aside. And it's the same thing with teachers. You come to my classroom and everybody's engaged, everybody's jumping up, everybody's doing the MRS strategies because that's what's gonna make us pass. Everyone's doing that, but you are not, and that's where we get docked at. So I feel like we're constantly focusing on the negative and not looking at what we are doing as teachers and our students, and we penalizing everybody for this one child mistake or this one teacher mistake when it shouldn't be that way.
And I also think there's a thing that we have to think about in terms of like trust. Like if you trust that I'm a teacher, right, then you have, like if you trust me with these children, right, you also have to understand that like there are certain strategies that you may not get, right? So I say that because I'm a teacher who believes in, like you talk about the outliers, right? But I believe life is about natural consequences. Discipline does not mean punitive. Right? It is like people use discipline synonymous with punitive, and it's not the same. It just means that you get what you put out, right?
Right.
If you're a super smart student and you can finish your work in 5 minutes, right? As a teacher, I need to have my lesson designed so that I can continue to engage you, right? that's built into my lesson because I'm a strong teacher, right? And if you are a student that needs more support, then I have it built into my lesson to give you support. So where cell phones come into play is that, like, I have my assignments set up so where this is how much time I've done the student work, I've looked at it, I have honed in on this, and I know about how much time it should take. I have a plan for my push, like for my top 10%, you know, and I have a plan for like my bottom 20, you know.
Right.
And so I don't leave room for, I don't leave room for distractions. And so I trust in that. And so I will give you the feedback of, hey, you're not supposed to have it on your phone, right? But here's the logical consequence. When that assignment closes, I said I do everything online.
Yeah.
When that class is over with at 10:30, that assignment closed.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and if you did not get that assignment done, right, I have given you feedback, I have given you all the tools that you need. Are there some exceptions? There are some exceptions, and I have a contingency plan because of that. But it closes, and then you become into the late phase. If you don't pay your rent late, you're gonna pay for
that
anything.
part,
There are
Natural
consequences, right?
consequences.
So when you want to get a A, but your grade is an 88, put your phone away. You get what I'm saying? You want to get a C so you can play, but your grade is a 69. Put your phone away. You know, do the work. I've given you the tools, and it's like my yes is my yes and my no is my no. It's nothing personal. And so when you build those relationships of like, I'm going to give you everything that you need to succeed, I think as educators, we should be trusted to do that to the best of our ability, and trusted that we are using the tools, right. that we need to use that. I don't have to punitively force you to get off your phone, because the grade is the grade, and if you get it done, you know, I've seen somebody do this, be like, oh, I think they should be penalized because somebody told me they didn't do this over the weekend. I said, I don't care what they did over the weekend. If you show up and you know what you're supposed to know, that's what I care about.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if you spent your whole weekend laying on the floor rolling around in cotton. When you show up on Monday, the test is the test.
Yeah.
If you didn't study and you don't pass the test, study,
that's
right?
amazing.
If you didn't study and you spent your weekend in cotton and you did pass the test, you passed the test. It's not my job to determine, you know, what your path is. And it's my job to give you the tools to be successful.
Right.
But we, so then I asked the question, right? This question I keep asking, like, is the system set up like this by design? And if so, what is it designed to do? Because we don't have to be punitive.
No, we don't.
It's not a
choice we're
requirement.
making. I know in
Right,
my
it's a choice.
place, the push is restorative, right? We have all these trainings and all
And I
these
believe in it.
things that they send you to do to be restorative, but then when it's time to be restorative,
Right.
everybody forgot about the training we went to.
Right.
Where's the where is it? Where's the
Right.
restorative practices they're not putting in place anymore? You said something in the last segment, and I want to get back on that. You said that you're resting. And I know that's like, I don't want to say it's a trendy thing right now, but I'm hearing a lot of women, especially Black women, say that they are in there. Please don't cry, because
No. I'm smiling
I'm
because my kind of rest and like you know, the
your face
you
is
know,
like, I was like, oh Lord,
no,
what do you call it? I'm a
I'm-
person that like when people cry, I be like, I'm so awkward.
You're so stuck.
I'm so
No,
awkward.
I'm not
But,
crying about rest. I need it.
There's some other people I'm noticing saying, especially Black women, are saying like this is their season of rest, or this is their resting season. And so earlier you said that, you know, this was your time to rest. You had to take a step back because things were getting so thick. You had to take a step back to rest.
Right.
And so I kind of want to talk about what does rest look like for you, and what has led you to rest. Not, you know, give us very broad.
Yeah, I'll give you just a broad overview. I'm ambitious. I'm a mover. When my students say, I like to, I'm a bucket filler, right? So I love to put people on a path. I think that money should never be an issue. There's always enough resources. So I love making things happen. So I'm doing a lot of, I'm wearing a lot of hats on my campus and doing a lot of things. And because I have not necessarily been able to be penalized on instruction, I think that the focus has been on making sure I follow small procedural things. And I do feel like there's a lot of nitpicking going on. I do feel like that it's led to people, overzealous people who are using their power against me, or you know, and I it's not like a woe is me type thing,
right?
But I do notice that that NES has become a weapon for some people,
yes,
and they're wielding that as their badge of power and their badge of rights to overstay, you know, and I have felt bullied when I have stood up for some things, and so for me, rest has been being at home. I have been ill these past few days. I've been very ill. I felt it coming. Not only is my immune system breaking down, I've been sick more than usual. My allergies are worse than they've ever been before. But my mental health is worse than it's ever been. I do see a psychiatrist, and I see her just for maintenance every once in a while. And I also have a therapist. I've had to see my psychiatrist more frequently, and I've had to go on medication.
Since the whole
since,
takeover.
Yeah, since the takeover. And I would say there was a switch. There was a key switch that happened somewhere around November. I think my mental health started to really diminish, you know. I was, like I said, I wasn't able to get up. I was missing duty, but it was because I was my psychiatrist put me on sleep medication. I developed clinical insomnia. I was not sleeping. Some days I was coming to school and had not slept at all because I could not decompress. And before I it was like drink a glass of wine, you know what I mean? And then I noticed that wasn't healthy. So I had to increase the conversation. You know, I had to really be transparent with my psychiatrist. Of course, it's my psychiatrist.
Right.
But I think I didn't realize what was really, really going on until my last session with her. She had forwarded some paperwork over, and then I spoke with my therapist, and I was able to look at my chart, and come to find out I had been talking about this every session. Like I was just reading the notes because I had to turn some things over to another medical provider, and I was like, oh, like I've been in this issue. And
were these all work related issues? If you don't mind me asking.
These were all work related. I had been talking about my job, and I did not realize it. I really thought I was fine. You know, for us. So when you say rest, I'm like, you know, for black women, we're different. We're strong, you know. So it's like I wasn't looking for yoga and stuff. I was like, okay, well, you know, just do this and
go harder, more. Go harder,
go harder, and show them how smart you are, and like read more and know more about the policy and know your stuff. You know, I was really overextending myself. I was really overdoing it as a sort of, you know, medicine, as a sort of prescription to the issue. And I didn't realize it until I looked at my medical records, and I was like, oh my God, I've been not okay, you know. And it wasn't until I was in a situation after work, and I was highly triggered by interaction I had with someone on admin, to the point of tears, uncontrollable tears, inconsolable tears for 2 days. And I'm not like a crier, like, you know, like I'm tough, you know. I realized, like, oh no, like the best thing I can do for myself is rest. And I mean literal rest. I mean, I could not move. Like I was stuck, you know, and I started to look at the days that I've used, and I'm like, oh my God, I've had to call in. One day I called in because I was sick, but it was because I physically couldn't get out the bed. You know, one weekend, and it's I wouldn't say, you know, I'm not going to say I'm embarrassed to say this, but it's hard to say that. When I really realized there was a problem, I remember going to bed on a Friday, staying up all night trying to get some work done. And I try my best not to work outside of school. I use all my hours inside the school, you know. I remember having to get some work done and, you know, communicate with some parents. And that was a Friday night. And Saturday morning, my children play basketball, so they had a tournament, and I couldn't take them. I had to have their dad take them. And I remember getting up at like 1 o'clock to use the restroom, and then like, you know, 8 o'clock to use the restroom. Then at 11 o'clock, I realized like, oh, you have not ate today. So I go out at 11 o'clock, I eat on a Saturday, and I go right back to bed, you know. Then on Sunday, you know, I wake up, they have the second part at this point of their tournament. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, like have daddy time, you know, like have some time with your father, you know. And so he takes them again, and it wasn't until about like 1 something that I'm getting contact from like, hey, you have a meeting today. And I'm like, oh Lord. On Sunday, a few Sundays ago, I got up and I realized that I still had on the shirt that I wore to work on Friday. And I am like a don't get in my bed with your clothes type of person.
Right.
Yeah. Children, like they know, like take your clothes off. Like do not get in my bed with your outside clothes. Like I'm no outside. Like my mom makes fun of me. She's like, I never seen nobody get undressed like you. When I come home, I get fully on. I don't care if I'm gonna be there for the hour. If I'm getting in my bed, I'm taking my clothes off. Yeah. I had been in my clothes, you know, and had barely ate, and I'm like, oh, this is an issue. And so I went to work Monday, and I just remember crying Monday night and not sleeping, and then going to work on Tuesday and just really feeling out of it the whole day. and then having this one interaction that just sent me over the edge, you know.
Was that interaction that Tuesday?
That interaction was that Tuesday.
You were already like there.
Yeah, I
So
was
that just-
already there.
that just did.
Right. I was already there because my students, my students did a good job of leading me to you, you know, and so I just knew that, like, oh my God, like these are reporters. Like,
Yeah.
they are
Oh,
watching
man.
what's going on.
Oh, man.
And they're reporting on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how deep I was in it until I had to take a step back and say, oh no, you have not been well.
Yeah.
So, you know, when the doctor is prescribing you, you know, medication to sleep, you know what I mean? And anxiety medication,
Yeah.
and this is not something that you had to rely on a regular basis, then you realize that, like, oh no, there's a problem, you know, when as needed becomes like as frequently as possible.
I need it every day.
I need it every day. I need it every 6 hours.
But the sleeping medication was working so good that
Right.
now I can't get up.
Now I can't
Or do-
get up, and that's what I was trying to explain. I'm like, you know, I have to get in and I have to take this medication or I won't be able to go to sleep. And if I can't go to sleep, I can't, you know, function, and I'm caffeinated. You know, I was in such a crazy cycle. But then, yes, it's like, I'm taking medication, so I can't get up at 6:30 to be here for 7:30. You know what I mean? It's just... So, and I will say, I have been in the talks of, like, potentially trying to get that changed, you know, but the change will be that, like, then I have to do something after school, you know,
Yeah,
so I have
yeah,
to select, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like,
Catch
you know, and
22.
I'm a sponsor already for
Yeah.
a few things,
Yeah.
you know, so, but the thing about it is that, I never, when I say folded, but yes, it was parents checking on me saying, like, you're a little bit different, not mean, but you don't have that glow. My child said to pray for you. You know, you got kids saying, like, how are you? Like,
Yeah, your
what's
kids are
going on?
worried
Like,
about
they
you.
know
Yeah,
stuff that's
yeah,
going
yeah.
on. You know, they're the ones, like,
Yeah.
you know, they will point it out before you even see it. And I'm like, oh dang, I'm trying to put on a happy face, you know, like for my students, you know, and step in and be myself for them. And I love the fact that I haven't folded. You know, I've stayed true to them, but we've had to have some tough conversations
Yeah.
about, like, let me fight for you, but let me fight for you where I have to fight for you.
Yeah.
So, like, if the policy is this, then we're going to follow the
Yeah.
policy.
And don't put
Right.
extra stress on me.
Don't put
by
extra
making me
stress
fight
on
for
me,
you
by
for
make-
some shit you
right,
know.
right. I
I
can't fight that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's focus on the big stuff.
I think it's important for them to also understand, and I hope hopefully they're watching, that y'all, and I'm gonna say you guys as teachers in a district in its entirety are under so much pressure. Don't add bullshit to my plate.
Right.
Yes.
And I know y'all teach high school. I teach 8th grade. We can have those conversations with our students, right? If your peers see that this is what we're going through as teachers, and you see me fighting, don't put no bullshit on my plate.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what you're supposed to be doing. Do the bare minimum. Do what you're supposed to be doing, and let's get out here alive together. I'm gonna fight for you to the end when they wrong.
Right.
I'm gonna bring your ass in the corner and tell you wrong too. But
Right.
don't add no extra bullshit
Right.
to my plate. If you already see and you care about me and you see that I'm already under this pressure, don't make it worse.
Right.
And so I think that's important. How long, if you don't mind my asking, have you been resting? When's the last time you were at work?
I've been off for only 3 days now. I hope to be fully at 100%. I would say I'm not at 100%. I think I'm around 50 maybe, but
that's good.
you know, but not 100. You know, I don't feel all the way myself. I don't feel safe. You know, I don't feel safe from retaliation. I don't feel safe from the hostility and like targeting and things. I don't feel safe yet, but I'm trying my best to get there. I'm trying my best to get there.
I know that in conversations with some of your students that have contacted me since you've been out this past week, I think,
Yeah.
right? They have felt, I think, because you're not there to catch the hurt. I hate to say the word hurt,
Yeah.
but you're not there to catch the hell that they have to go for you. Your students are catching it now. Now that's making it
Sorry,
fair.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
Because
Where's the tissue? I think it's behind you.
That's,
And so some of the things that I'm getting are that your students have been pulled out of class, their different classes. They are basically interrogating your students about you. What was her attitude like? Has she said anything? Has she done this? Has she done that?
Yeah.
And the kids are like, don't talk to me about my teacher. Don't talk to me about my teacher. But they're still kind of like, well, where are you?
Right,
Where is she?
right.
Is she okay? Is she okay? And so one of your babies, they were like, well, have you talked to her? And I said, I did.
Right.
How is she? I said, she's okay.
Yeah.
She's worried about. So I know what to do as a teacher. I'm comforting them, saying that, you know, she's worried about y'all. She has expectations of y'all. Do what she expects y'all to do, and she's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But that's hard. That's
is.
hard because
It
what
is.
people don't understand is that we complain about the money, we complain about the bullshit,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, they are our why. I hate when people say that cliche, like, know your why. I hate when people say that shit.
No, but
it's
it's
real.
real.
Like,
Yeah.
especially if you are passionate as education as we are. Those kids become our why. They are the reason why. If I don't feel like it, I'm gonna drag myself out this bed, because if I'm not here, who is going to be here? And I know that's your biggest worry. Like, if I just say my mental health can't take this anymore, I cannot go back for the duration of the school year. Now, who is going to come in and be with my babies? Are they going to care for my babies like I care for my babies? Are they going to be teaching them like I'm going to teach them? What are they going to do? Are they going to look out for them like I'm going to look out for them?
Yeah.
And that's a fear.
So it's like, it's a real fear, and it's hard for me. I mean, I was with a couple of my students. One of the parents invited me to something that they were having for one of the kids, and so a lot of them were there, and they had a lot of questions, you know, and I just keep telling them I'm resting. You know, one of them I had to have a one-on-one conversation with and say, hey, listen, I need you, because, like, you know, she's messaging me on Teams and things like that. I had to turn everything off. And I told her, I said, you don't worry about me. It's my job to worry about you. It's not your job to worry about me. I'm an adult and I'm okay, right? I need rest and I'm trying to rest. I was like, but know that if you need anything, I'm here, right? So I can't say what they're asking, but I actually got that information from a parent. So I didn't know that the students had reached out to you as well, because a parent reached out to me and said, you know, I'm worried about you. Like, you are being, people are asking questions. And it was strange because she heard it through the grapevine, you know? It is hard because you feel like you're abandoning your post, you know. But then at the same time, I have babies at home who are watching me break down, you know.
And you can't be mom to them.
Right,
For you to
because
say, I stayed in the
break
bed
down at
Friday in
work,
the same
and then-
clothes. I didn't go to
right.
any tournaments. And,
Right.
and the weekends, yes, we can say daddy time.
I got
but
pictures.
It's family time.
Yeah, I got pictures from my nephew's mom of my nephew and my sons and their championship rings. You know,
It's the championship.
and that was his first one winning in basketball. Okay,
Oh.
so for me it was hard. I was like, I'll be okay this weekend, you know. But I couldn't get out the bed,
okay.
and so it's like when we talk like what you were talking about, like showing up and like being the sacrificial lamb. Like I think people think that like we do it right because we love to, but no, we do it because we have to, right?
no one else.
You know, I don't do it because it's easy. You know, I do it because it's a requirement to move change. You know, somebody has to light the torch. You know. Because if I don't, then who will, you know? And everything is not mine to take up. But sometimes when you have an assignment, you know, so, like I honestly believe, you know, I do have a tattoo, and it's
I have 13. It's okay.
okay. I was like, I have a tattoo.
That's another
It's
conversation.
like hidden,
It's okay.
but it's Zora Neale Hurston, and it's like it says if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it.
Yes.
You know, and for me, I'm like, you know, that's another thing. My silence, like I was gonna say, will never save me, you know. And so for me, it's like, dang, I came into like the school that I'm at. I came last year, and I just was like, oh, this is cushy.
Yeah.
Like I love this. Like I can teach and I can do the things. And
I can
have
change the
supportive
community.
Yes, I can change the community. My principal is supported. And I was like, I'm not fighting, you know, because I've always been a fighter.
It's okay.
You know, some of us, we have that divine
It's in
assignment.
us, yeah.
It's just in us, you know. Man, I signed on for the next year thinking like, oh, this is my, you know, that
With
other
some
kind
extra
of rest.
money, too?
Yes, with some extra money. This is a different kind of rest they're talking about. I'm going to go to yoga and I'm going to brunch on the weekends and spend my money getting facials. No. Therapy, co-pays, right?
Yeah, look.
And that assignment has come back and I say, well, damn, I'm always in some place where I got to make some noise. You know what I mean? And, it's in me, you know
That's
what I
what
mean. It is, and so I really tried to walk the line, and I'm going to walk the line. I'm going to do the things. You know
You're not choosing to
Right,
be.
right.
I hate the word compliant. I'm gonna tell you that
Right.
right now. I hate that word compliant. But you are not trying to break policy. You
Right.
are not, but you are calling out, from what I gather, from what I'm gathering, talking to your students, from what I'm gathering, talking to parents, you are not falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
No, not at all.
You are questioning the logic behind the decisions that they are making,
Right.
and you are questioning if it's best for your student. And I know, Miss Muhammad, I know you're a different kind of fighter, because your students in my comment section, free Miss Muhammad, right on, hey. they going hard for you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna delete that comment because I don't want your face tied to like delete, but they going hard. Free Miss Muhammad, free Miss
You know,
Muhammad.
and it's so funny you say that because, my boys still go to the school. And so I was at the school Friday. Friday was spring break. So all the kids come out, getting their report cards. Everybody's coming to the car. They want to know what's going on. Because the rumor is that me and my principal, Miss Vega, had a fight and I won. I was like, oh, y'all think I'm a fighter? Oh,
Those rumors.
They so messy.
I said, oh, y'all think I can fight and I won? Oh, I just love y'all to death. We having this conversation. And my principal, because she just has this vengeance, she was so enraged that they were at my car. Now, mind you, I don't get out of my car because I have to leave my school at 3:30 to go pick up my daughter for 4. So I don't have time to even talk to any teacher. I'm literally running. She literally got the parking lot full of children. She literally came to my car and had these children move. Because you have so much vengeance in your soul, because you're mad, because you're ineffective. You're one of the 3 that Mike Miles talk about as being ineffective. That's you. And so you mad. And so you constantly deal with this because, like your students, they are coming to my car. What's going on, Miss Muhammad? We're not learning. We're doing Apex all day. We know Apex is for credit recovery. It's STAR. We're not doing anything. We're in your class. I'm skipping all day in your class. I'm playing Fortnite. This sub doing this. We're not doing nothing. So at the end of the day, you let your ego, because all we're doing is running by our ego. You letting your ego dictate what's going on. And at the end of the day, is it really about the students or is it about your ego? And so my students are constantly saying, we're in this class. You're the only 9th grade English teacher because we're at a specialized campus. We're not learning. We're not learning.
Right.
And that's where we are. And so I feel a certain type of way like yourself. I feel that I abandoned my students. I don't feel like I'm closed. So granted, I'm getting my rest, but I can't really rest.
Yeah.
Because this is not summer. Like I have something to be graded. I have
Right.
novels I need to finish.
Right.
I have all these different things that's not done. I didn't get to say my goodbyes. I didn't get to come out of my classroom. So I don't feel that I can actually rest because I have so much unfinished. It's commas and not periods. And so I'm a little disturbed by that because at the end of the day, give me the same thing you want me to give you. Let me have finished out or let me do something and not just seem like because you got mad in this moment. Because again, you're 1 to 3 that's ineffective. You're mad and now the school is going the way it's going because Miss Muhammad leaving your campus has not improved anything. It's actually make it worse, still making it worse. Parents are still getting on you. All these different things. Because
Right.
again, what is the benefit of this? So are we really for children? Or are we really for ego?
But it takes me back to what you said earlier about the capitalist. I'm here for the paycheck. Because when I looked at the compensation manual of the guy for next year, I'm looking at some of the very people that y'all talk about as far as the executive directors in the areas.
Yes.
We're talking about upwards of $210,000 a year.
Oh.
And so when you
Yes,
say,
it's like
I think it starts at like 170.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken. So when I look at that and I say, oh, this is what they're paying you to make people's lives hell.
Right.
And I listened to yesterday and just this morning, I guess Mike Miles had a principals meeting on Friday or something like that, where
The
like
audio recording?
polled
Yes.
120 principals that you're effective or you're not effective, and some of y'all not gonna have a job. And the way he's speaking to them as, do not go outside of the chain of command. Going outside of the chain of command will not work for you. Basically, if you don't want to get out, you can go right now. Don't make us wait. You can go now. And so I'm hearing him talk like this to the principals, right? You haven't heard that recording?
I have
I'll
not.
let you play. I'll listen to it. Listening to him talk like that to the principals. Now it's like, oh, you're under pressure because he on your ass, so you got to get on your students' ass because I need this. I don't want y'all doing no star review in the classroom, but I still need the data to look like this because it seems like it's more important to prove that the way I'm doing this, the way the system I'm running, is better than anything else that y'all have going on, and that y'all are going to get the results with the system I'm running by any means necessary.
Yes.
And so he's talking to those principals, and then he specifically says, there are 4 or 5 of you that can go right now. So if I'm listening to damn, how empowering is that for me? How am I supposed to take that, leave this meeting that I'm sitting in here with you, and go back to my campus and lead the people? How do I?
Yeah,
how
and
do
so
I,
I
do
don't,
that?
I don't think that's what's happening. You know, I keep going back to like there are some good people. Like I know my direct boss. You know, when I said in my middle of the year meeting, I felt floored because she had pulled out like you know you've done this, you've done that, you've done this, and like she's like you're seen. I know you don't think so, but you're seen. And the worst feedback I had from her was about my attendance. Like just don't be tardy. And
But
we
I
know why
literally
I'm
can't
tardy.
get out of
Right?
bed.
Like I can't get out of
You
bed.
can't get out
But
of
it
bed.
felt good. But still it felt good to be seen.
Right.
Right. But then yeah, but then at the same time, I'm watching her and so many other people run around, and I'm saying I only can talk. Everybody has their flaws. I can talk about the person
Yes.
that's leading me, right? I see her and other people running around. And while I have not been treated poorly at all by my direct report, sometimes I feel like because of that I'm being treated poorly by other people.
And then that makes me think if I'm at the top and I want you out of here, I want to fuck with you by any means necessary.
Right.
But the middle person between us is making that difficult for me. I wonder how the person at the top is making life difficult for them.
And see that's why I try my best to be like, that's why I try to use my empathy hat. Like, hey, like just like we don't want the students to give us issues.
Yeah.
I be like, I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. I want them, every time it's like, hey, they didn't tell me to tell you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the they is. Like it very well could be her. It very well could be nobody. Like who knows, but I just know how I'm treated. And then I watch them leave these little huddles, and I'm like, oh shit! Like I would have hated to have been in that circle, you know. But I think some people are being pushed to be like you have. I think our situations are similar. Some people are being pressured. Other people love to wield their power. And they've never had this kind of power.
Pick me.
They've never had this kind of there's this brazenness of like, oh yes, like and you could see it come out with the interactions.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna just touch on it and get out because it created some drama on TikTok when I said it the other day. But what I noticed about your two situations and the people that are directly over you in your situations, the names are very similar. The people are very similar. The cultures are very similar. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna just and I'm gonna back up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna back out. But when you talk about power, how can I say this? Some of us are given power from the day we enter this world.
Yes.
Right. We are afforded the privilege of power from the day that we are conceived and we enter the world. Some of us have to fight like hell to get a little bit of piece of the dream and fight for our power.
Is that the dream?
And then I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody can get where I'm going with
Yeah.
this. But some of us are being given power that nobody ever would have ever given us.
And
now
the
that
part
I have
the part about it is that like, and I need people to understand that history really does repeat itself. These are cycles, You're given this power, but what's implied when you have this power is that you have this power because you're not like them.
Yeah.
You're different. You're a little bit better. And the implications of why you're better, right? They don't have to be they're not explicit, but there are implications of as to why you deserve this power and you deserve this, in this space. Because
but I feel like it's kind of like reverse affirmative action. I don't even think that it's necessary that you are even qualified. It's because if I have to pick the lesser of the two evils, I'm gonna pick you instead. Because I feel that just in certain situations, just across the gamut, you're putting people in power because you might be this minority or that minority, but are you really effective? You mean to tell me on paper, you're picking the lesser one and putting this lesser person in that's not effective at all and expecting to make a change. And they have no idea how to walk in a straight line and chew gum at the exact same time. But because this person is this, you feel they're going to be effective.
I think sometimes we confuse like race and ethnicity.
Yes.
Right? So like for instance, I question the person that's leading my campus if they are truly a minority, right? In the traditional sense of like they have not been able to have the same privileges as other people, and I say that to say that, when I check my box, Black, right, or African American, then it asks me, am I Hispanic or not Hispanic? But If you check Alaskan, Pacific Islander, European, white, whatever, European white, but still you check Native or whatever, that Hispanic and not Hispanic question is still going to be there no matter what. So there's a difference between the skin, right, and then the ethnicity and stuff. And so I think that inherently just, still kind of trying to touch it, but not I think that matters when you're dealing with students of a certain community.
But then to also think it matters too when we talk about it. I mean, I always go back to Booker T. Washington, W.B. Du Bois, the talented 10 and the, lack of a better word, the workers. I think it's the same thing. I can go to any inner city urban school as a black woman and say, oh, I'm black. We got the same plight, but no, my plight's a little bit different because my station in life is maybe a little bit different from a child who grew up in the bottom of the third ward. Right. We're still same color, same, but we're not just based on our stations. I think that matters. Where are you putting these people at? Even though we might be the same color, same race, same in this, what is the stations like? Because I still can't connect.
Right, exactly.
If my parents, literally, if I am African and my parents came from an African country to me, I'm not the same black, so the conversation is totally different. So we cannot automatically think, but because we share the same skin color or the same ethnicity, guess what? You're not able to connect to these students.
And I think that's a problem. I think that's the problem we're having in my school. Yeah. The students are from where they're from, and that's their culture, and people should take that into account when certain practices are put down. And the heavy policing of students is something that they're used to in their community, and they don't respond well to it.
But not even necessarily, but I think too, even some of the situations. I mean, we had the conversation before. My demographic of my students, yes, my school is more Hispanic populated, and that's all parts of it. But they're different type. Their generations have been here. They come to school wearing Louboutins. So if you are a Mexican person or Hispanic person that's just coming to America yesterday, the conversation is still going to be different. They don't have the same understanding. They don't have the same. So I think we need to make sure we're putting people in places of power across the board, that you're kind of matching up so there's able to be a connection so that they feel empowered. Yeah. Because you coming over talking about, oh, this is my life. I came from a border town, but these students, they go to Spain every summer. It ain't the same conversation. It ain't the same conversation with Ms. Muhammed because I don't go to Spain every summer. So how are we having this? It's no relation. So I think we have to make sure that when we're putting people in places of power, that they are matching up to wherever they're going. Now, it might not always be 100% match up, but something that makes the connection.
Or that they're able to recognize.
Yeah, recognize. You know what?
It sounds like from the top they're not able to recognize.
Like, because I mean,
you're a Spanish speaking person, go over here to a Spanish speaking.
But no, and it's not like that. I mean, because when we talk about privilege, it goes in so many different. Privilege is so vast. It's so many different. Top teens, are Jack and Jill. You have these soccer clubs. You have all these different things. Those are all different levels of privilege with different levels of different ways. How do we make sure that these children are getting the right representation?
Right.
Yeah. Boys and girls club, all these different things. There's certain demographics, but we have to make sure that it aligns. And sometimes it's not aligning correctly. And everyone to come in and say, I'm black or I'm this and I'm that. And it's a connection, but it's not. And so that's where the ball, I feel, is dropped. Even with our curriculum, it's dropped there.
So let's talk about, you said privilege is that curriculum. Then y'all said putting the right people in. It triggered something in my head because I know of a place that there's a very young administrator, but you wear all the Dunks and all the Jordan 1s. Oh, great. We're going to send you over there to that black school because you can relate to the kid. And we're all looking like you bypassed 5, 6, 10 black men that you could have put in this position, but because this person wears Dunks and Jordans and all of this, he's supposed to be effective and he's over there being ineffective as the fuck.
Yeah.
But, you can relate because, you like tennis shoes. All black people care about is tennis shoes.
Right, remember?
You can go over there and relate to those boys.
Yeah,
so go over there.
Tennis shoes now.
Go over there. And anyway, let me be quiet. And when you said that, it made me think about that. But these are the decisions that we make. And even the people at the top have no clue at all. But let's get to curriculum real quick because I want to talk about the differences in what y'all have going on over there, the privileges that your kids have versus, we talked about curriculum already, but the privileges that your kids have versus the privileges that your kids have. You talked about just now how they're heavily policed, right? Then I listened to you say something about, we eating chips and noodles in class, we chilling, we skipping in class. And I'm like, how is this when here and let me be clear, let me use your line, let me be clear. Y'all are not too far
demographic
schools or demographic wise. No. I can go 10 minutes down this side road and be at the back of your school and vice versa.
Yeah.
But it's the privilege of the type of campus, the specialized campus and the rating from the state that your campus has versus the community reputation that your school has.
Yes.
And so heavily policed. Now, any other regular school in your area, those kids would probably be heavily policed.
Yes.
But because this is a specialized campus that just happens to be placed in this community,
yes,
your kids get privileges that yours don't. She's looking like, how the hell?
Because I didn't.
Well, you know, by me, let's not just make it only to my school, but specialized campuses in general. But then let's talk about it. It's even a different privilege in the specialized campuses, because I'm at South Early. There's other campuses that are specialized. You're talking about your law enforcement, your HSPVAs. Those are specialized campuses where the dress code of certain things is totally different. So it's still levels to this based on, again, demographics. And so, like, even with us, the NES curriculum is an option for us. It's an option.
Okay.
So, like, as a ninth grade English teacher, I'm on a 90-minute block. So I see my students every other day, and I'm just going to go with just a prime example. The first 6 weeks of school, we read Jason Reynolds' Long Way Down. I did, because I am a novel girl. Like, so I'm going to read novels that represent my demographic. I'm not reading nothing. We're not reading Of Mice and Men. We're not reading Lord of the Flies. Granted, I do love a little Holden Caulfield every now and then.
Listen.
Let me be clear. I keep a copy in my closet. I'm reading all the time, but I'm not introducing that. I feel that in order for students to connect to literature, it has to look like them.
Yeah.
They have to exist. They don't want to keep reading about slavery and marches and all. Can we just live? And so I'm always bringing in books that kind of let children see themselves in some form or fashion where they're able to connect to it. So literally my book list this year was Long Way Down. It was Poet X's I'm Not My Perfect Mexican Daughter. It was The Pact. It was Born a Crime. It was one of my favorites when I was at Yates. We read Nathan McCall Makes You Want to Holler. Those were my novels for this entire school that my school purchased. I have the curriculum, and we had different activities that went with everything, so we did that on top of using a college board curriculum. And granted, I still had to have my DOL. I still had to have my learning objective, but it was still different. No one was really coming to our classroom making sure that it was like done with fidelity. I would say this. I noticed, and not just me noticing, that when there was a principal's meeting, then maybe you had 2 or 3 days when everybody's coming in with a whip. But after a while, it was slack down. Then another principal meeting come up, now we got the whip. Then it would kind of slack down. Nothing was really consistent. Or it might be I'm coming into your classroom all the time, but never coming to yours, and we're right next door.
Right.
Or the right same kind. So I would not say that across the board it was fair, because before I left my campus, teachers had not even had 3 spots from October to now. So it's all just not consistent on my campus based on just who our campus was. And so with the curriculum, everybody for the most part pretty much pulled whatever curriculum they wanted to use to be effective. It was you had to use NES. I pulled from NES for some things because I did find that some things worked, some things did not. But I did notice how the NES curriculum, that it was very timed. For me personally, I was like, I don't like this, and I didn't get a chance to talk to anyone else who did NES, but what I saw, it was that it was timed, and I felt like that, from my understanding, that if the child was already on grade level, NES curriculum works. If the child was not on grade level, it did not allow for you to go back. So, for example, essay writing, cool, not a problem. If your child is on grade level, they can write this essay. But if the child, let's be clear, in 9th grade, don't know what a sentence is, you cannot go back to tell what a sentence is. Now I got to
move forward.
You have to move forward.
That's
Or
crazy.
now you're automatically in the lower group. So it does not give you enough time to stop, teach you something, let them process it, then assess it. It was like, assess. Now you don't get to go. So I feel like it does not give you enough time to process. I do feel that the curriculum works best if the child is already on grade level. I feel that if they're not on grade level, and it's just my limited knowledge, if they're not on grade level, it's not a beneficial curriculum because it doesn't give you enough time. I think even if you are on grade level, I need to process. For me, I'm a visual learner. I can't keep going like this. And I feel like that it needs to be modified from that standpoint. But again, I'm at a campus where that was optional. So it didn't really bother me because you know what? Oh, if I pull from this, cool.
Right.
If I didn't pull from this, cool. Oh, you know what? This ain't working. I'm going to go and read my novels real quick. I have this whole top to bottom how we doing. I had the videos I'm bringing in. I can bring in the YouTube clips. We did presentations. We made videos. So I had all this autonomy in my classroom to make it look a certain type of way.
So listening to all these novels that you just named, amazing novels, by the way, and then going back over here, like with the sad face, like, we go back to talking about what's punitive, right?
Right.
To me, that's punitive. That's punitive. I asked you earlier about libraries and access to novels and things like that. And punishing a kid, because let's be real, right? The campuses are NES campuses because they are low performing or determined to be low performing in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your reading scores are low, I'm gonna punish you by not letting you read.
But it seems like it's not a punishment, right?
Yeah,
but it is.
This is what's best for you,
right?
It's almost
This
like
is
your
what's best for
oppressor
you.
telling you what's best for you. Like, you know what's best for me.
You know what's
now. But I think, okay, if I get some dynamic teachers in like yourself that could say, hey, I can get the reading scores up. Give these kids choice. Give me autonomy. Mm-hmm. Let me read literature that has them that they can see themselves in. Let me ask the questions that I want to ask. I can do the rhetorical analysis. I can do the higher order thinking.
Yes.
I can do critical thinking.
Yes.
I can do all those things. Give me the books that work for my kids, and I got you. But instead,
no. I mean, even I will say, yes, like teachers have been instructed, like, do not go off script, right? Mm-hmm. Do not go off script, right? And so so they've been instructed not to go off script.
Right.
So when you talk about it being punitive, the school that I came from, I saw a lot of problems with it. The district that I came from, a lot of problems. But the one thing I will say, and I can't speak for every other, every other team, but that English team was, when it came to ensuring that students were vertically and horizontally aligned, that from each grade you were getting like the richest and the strongest text that really mirrored your community. Yes. Mm-hmm. The only issue is that I came from a charter. These are the same children in the same community, right? So we can't say it's about where they're from. These are the same students, right? It's about who you've allowed to have access to, access to this information and who you have not. So it might not seem punitive, but when you have students that are graduating here, regardless of the reasons, because like I said, I'm not here to defend, any. There are some issues with charter, but in terms of curriculum, allowing a student to see themselves, right, is a form of empowerment, and that's a reward. That's but we're taking away the reward, and we're saying, oh, you're only worth being able to complete the STAR the STAR assessment that's aligned to STAR. This assessment that's aligned to STAR. That's your worth. That's what you're worth, So answer these questions, right? But it's like we don't allow them to think and to dream, and to be, we put bars around them by saying, if you can't do it this way, you can't do it at all. And so yes, I do believe in raising the bar for students, and I do think that students benefit from the NES curriculum if they are on level. But the reason why NES is here is because students have not necessarily been on level. And so when do we start to look at rigor as something that does not need you don't need to be of a certain level to have rigorous put in front of you. Rigorous for everybody, right? How do we say that you are enough as you come into the classroom, and that I'm focused on your progress, not focused on you meeting some arbitrary list of teaks that say that you're somehow ready for the world,
But I think you have to look at it from that standpoint. That's a good standpoint, but also I think you have to have some type of measuring stick for ready of the world. Because when those children matriculate from 9th to 12th grade, what is the plan for that, and are they prepared for that plan? Regardless of the school district, superintendent, when they go to any, the one of the top performing private schools is Kincaid in Houston. When they leave from Kincaid to go to Rice, what are we measuring to make sure that they're properly ready for the world?
I will say I hear you, and I think that education is beautiful in that way, right? Because I personally, my undergrad is from Prairie View, but my master's is from Rice, and I did not graduate top of anything, right? I failed out of my first year in college, right? So was I ready for the world? That's a question, right? But I did the work to get there because that's what my goals were, right? All of our students, their goals are not to go from, Kincaid to Rice,
of
right?
Course, of course. Yeah.
Whatever school to school. Some of their goals are to have a specialized welding, specialized knowledge in welding, which is an intelligence of its own, right? Intelligence looks different across the board, right? Everybody does not plan to go into an academic setting. I have a student that has, I have students that have amazing spatial, what is it called, spatial reasoning, and they can draw you, and it look like you sitting right in front of them, right? That's a different type of intelligence, right? That's not what we're measuring for when we're measuring TEKS, right? But that does not mean that their specialized intelligence isn't ready for something else. So when I say it's arbitrary, I do think we need to have a baseline, but I don't think that baseline measures if students are smart or not. It just measures if they're ready to go into a certain space, and we have to be aware of that, and not bring students down.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes it, don't say, oh, y'all are not ready for the world, so we're going to take your books away. Like, that's not okay.
No, and I definitely,
we need them to see themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And unfortunately, that's what's happening, right?
That's exactly what's happening.
You're not ready for the world. You need this. I'm telling you what you need, and I'm going to take these things away from you.
Right.
But even though they may be resources for you to be the best, you
can be.
Yes. I'm going to take that away from you because I know what's best for you.
Yeah.
When I'm listening to you, the exchange, and I love it. It's so amazing. Because I feel like people really need to see, like, it's a tale of two cities in one damn city. It's crazy, right?
Well, like on the same block.
Literally on the same block, right? And so when I hear what you're saying, and I hear what the kids are having, and you said earlier, making sure that you create space within the curriculum they're giving you to accommodate your students, right? Then I hear you saying, hey, I'm a specialized campus, and I got 20% of my campus that's not on level or whatever, or they need accommodations, but we don't have the staff to give accommodations. So now y'all know my passion is special education and students with disabilities. So now I'm coming to say, how the hell does that look? What does that look like on your campus versus what's on your? Because let's make sure that everybody's on the same page. That's federal law.
Yes.
That's not optional. It should not be optional.
Yes.
If a kid needs this because the committee sat down and said they need these things, it should not matter if they're on a specialized campus or a campus that's an NES that doesn't have the staff, you don't have the staff. This is what they said they needed. This is what a committee said they needed. This is what we all signed and agreed to provide for that kid. So what do those provisions look like on your campus? And let's talk about what they look like on your campus. Ooh, okay.
Lord, I'm getting hot and sweating.
Right.
Well, I will say this. On my campus, prior to me, taking my teacher jail, my sabbatical, my teacher jail. Teacher jail.
Feeling teacher jail.
You know what I'm saying? Me doing my time, it did not look the way I have seen it implemented in the district like I said, I've been in the district since 2017. The way I've seen SPED implemented from middle school and elementary to where I'm on my campus now, I don't even know what it is. It looks weird to me.
Yeah.
I do not feel, and I've said this before, I've been very vocal about this on my campus. I understand that when you have a kid that is SPED or 5 or 4, we're all about inclusive environments. I am not going to debate that. It is what it is. But I think we have to be smart as a campus. Because let's be clear, there's a shortage. There is a teacher shortage in the world. Let's be clear. So we understand that. However, when these babies are coming to our school, whether it's specialized or comprehensive, like your school, can we support this baby on our campus? And for my campus, a lot of things that needs to be done, we didn't have the support for. They were not getting the support that they need on our campus per their IEP. I know how to read an IEP. I have sat on 10,000 R committees, MCRs, all these different things. So I'm clear on what the vernacular is, what it looks like, and what is that. Because I'm going to ask this question. Oh, excuse me. This ain't even my kid that I birthed. I want to know, what does this mean? So that way when I talk to the parent, I can tell this parent, hey, I am doing this for your kid. It says this, but I'm giving extra this. I'm all these different things. So when I have a conversation with the parent, I've told the parent what I'm doing to ensure success for their kids. What is going on my campus, especially with, I'm going to say my 9th graders, so I'm only going to speak to that, it's not being done. So now you have kids who are failing. They're literally failing because if realistically, when they've come to me to tutorials, I'm able to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to pair you two up with this person. Or I'm going to pull you aside now because I have time to help with you one-on-one. This little help with you one-on-one, you got the assignment. But in my classroom, because remember, I am at a high-performing campus. The expectation is when you walk through this door, I don't have to perform. All this pull-out, push-in, that's like what we're doing is that. Realistically, this is the expectation. Now, we know it's not always that way, but that's the expectation walking in. Right. So if my classroom is literally 20 students, because I have small classes, and everyone is coded GT in this one class, and they're performing at GT, they've all master star, and I have this one baby who is sped with accommodations and in-class support and pull out, blah, blah, blah.
Or they're twice exceptional.
Yes.
They're GT and...
Yes. So then how does that work? Realistically, how does that work? So it's not being done. And when I speak up, I've been in meetings with district personnel and say, okay, well, on my campus, I know for a fact these babies are not getting what they need because per their IEP, it says so much in-class support. The response is basically get it how you live. Okay, so then when I talk to the parents, because I know that when I pull this kid aside after school, during lunch, or wherever I do it, I've seen this. So if we had the support, well, it's your responsibility. So it's constantly that they're not getting what they need in order to ensure success. And I do not know if realistically parents understand, back to our original conversation, what it's supposed to look like. What is this terminology? Because you sitting down, let's be clear, parents are not, for lack of a better word, dumb.
Right.
Certain terminology we know as teachers, medical professionals know certain terminology, so it's not like that these are dumb people, it's just what you're used in your career. So when parents don't know, they just signing their name or saying what's going on and not realizing, hey, you know what this means for your baby? Your baby need this. Your baby supposed to get extra time.
Legally, they're promising to give your baby
they
these
saying,
things.
they saying this, and this. Now, Miss Muhammad is doing this, but keep in mind, because Miss Muhammad is doing A, your child still didn't get B and C. Because the paperwork says they need all this to be successful.
To have access to the
yes.
curriculum like everybody else has.
It was not a pick and choose. This was not a smorgasbord. You had to have all these different things in order to ensure that your child just meet the minimum standards. And if that's not, so that I know for when I left, that was not happening on my campus.
So that's on your specialized campus, where high performing specialized.
And mind
campus.
you, our at, let's just say, remember my school is small, so 420. Our SPEDS 5 work population is not big. I want to say at the bare minimum, I want to say, and I could be wrong, but it's no more than 20 combined.
Okay.
So I know it might be different at your campus.
So versus now your campus,
Yeah.
what does that look like? What does facilitated support or in-class? I don't know. Everybody calls it something different. What does that look like at your campus?
So I guess I'll just pick up where you left off and come, because I have a large population of my students are emerging bilingual.
Okay.
So they require certain certain things to be done in order for them to be able to meet the curriculum and stuff, which is not a bad thing, right?
Of course,
I love that last year during my first year when I was being supported, I was able to focus on that since I had such a large population of emerging bilingual students, like how to integrate things that will work for my EB students, but also work for other students, right? So I'll just try to bullet point this and be like straight to the point, because that's very unique to have that small amount. What I know is that there are at least 4 caseworkers across my students. I know one comes in on a regular basis to support their students and gives them their 30 minutes or whatever it is, and make sure they get their meetings, right? Not only supports them, but supports me to support them. That's one out of maybe 4 caseworkers that I deal with who have come by and said, sign this paper, and have moved on, okay? And so this is not best case scenario, but I'm gonna answer your question with the question, right? If you only have 45 minutes, right, during the beginning portion, right, and that does not take away the students that we're not going to say, hey, like you have 45 minutes, so I'm not going to put anybody that needs support into your classroom during that 45 minutes. No, they're still in the same classroom, which lawfully they should be. Yeah. You have 45 minutes to figure it out, right? I'm going to require that you write their accommodations. I'm going to verbally tell you that you're required to write their accommodations or whatever you use. Either use a stamp and check them off on their paper, or put them into some sort of worksheet that says what you've used, right? But I'm also going to send down a mandate that says that you cannot do paperwork in class. You're not allowed to fill out paperwork in class. You need to be teaching, but then also send out a mandate that says that while you're teaching, make sure you're monitoring for cell phones. Then when it comes time to pull and see something like potentially if a student has an MDR, it's hard to determine if their behavior was a manifestation, if it's determined their behavior was a manifested when you don't necessarily even have the baseline knowledge of what this student needed to start with, right, to be successful, because the behavior and the academic often go hand in hand, especially depending on what your disability is. So I would say that the support has been sparse.
Okay.
I have one. I had one teacher that comes in on a regular, consistent basis.
So I'm gonna stop right here and I'm gonna just look at the camera and say it sounds like parents of these schools, y'all need to reach out to an advocate because it sounds like needs are not being met. It sounds like documents that y'all sign and the campuses and the districts agreed to are not being upheld. It sounds like y'all are sitting on, whatever. I always say it. Like parents be sitting on gold mines and don't even know it. Because I know that in certain places this would not exist. And I'm gonna stop it right here because I know we gonna be cut on time. I'm gonna just stop it right here because now I'm gonna get angry again because it's so unfair that I know in certain places, because I have friends that work in all parts of HISD, and I know that the things that are going on, in certain areas, I'm not going to say names because I don't want nobody to attach themselves to me, but things that are going on in certain sides of parts of Houston would never go on their campuses.
Absolutely.
Because the community will not allow it. Those parents have money, power, and privilege, and those schools, those principals would not even try it. They come in with advocates and attorneys from the jump.
Yes.
And so that paperwork is pristine in comparison to the paperwork I looked at from people that came from your campus, the other campuses. Paperwork looks like shit. And it's unfair that people are doing that to kids, and people in higher admin are allowing these things to be done to kids. Because where are the checks and balances? I'm going to stop right there. Thank y'all for coming. I feel like we can keep talking all day, but like I be on the time and I will just sit here and run my mouth. But thank y'all for coming. I hope you're well. Your kids have definitely been worried about you, looking out for you. So you got some great kids and you got some great parents.
They're amazing.
So shout out to y'all for checking on your teacher and give them a message. Tell them what you need from them.
I need them to do what I've taught them to do.
Hello.
I need them to do what I've taught them to do. The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. So do what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like follow policy, but also prepare yourself, arm yourself.
I love that. And your kids, free Miss Muhammed, you want to give them a message?
Let me tell you, I see my children every day. Every day when you coming back. So I'm just thankful that at the end of the day, I have not been called a trash teacher by my district.
Hello.
I have not been called a trash teacher by my students or even the parents who I know. So now, and so for me, I take solace in that, knowing at the end of the day, it's your ego. Your ego will be your downfall because you cannot back up and say, you know what, she was trash, she got what she deserved. You suffering. So I'm sitting back and watch this crumble because I know who's going to still be standing.
And we'll be honest, I'm good on any block.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good regardless.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I know my parents have been rising up.
Yeah.
And I was telling someone on my campus, I said, parents are rising up because as teachers, we make connections with parents. You're in your building where the parent trusts you. Well, hey, go up to the math class. I can't reach the math teacher. Can you tell me what's going on? And now you're facilitating across the whole building because you made relationships with this parent and they trust you to look out for their kid while they're there. Because guess what? Life is life. I can't always leave. So when that one person who they trust to watch their kid and do the right thing by their kid is no longer there, now they're mad. So now they got to come off their jobs they cannot afford to come off of to come up here because their confidant that was making sure their kid across every subject or whatever's going good is not there. So now it's a problem.
Yeah, that was reminds me of what you said. I'm about to start talking. Sorry to be when you said safe schools, right? And what we send our kids to school for. Yes, we send them to school for an education, but we also trust that the people that are there that said they're passionate about education, that say they're passionate about doing what's best for kids, are taking care. What is the phrase we have? Local parentis. I can't remember the thing, but like our kids are in your care as though you are their parents, and so we do trust that. Yeah, we always like, I ain't your mama, I'm not your, but like I am here supposed to be making the best decisions for you. I'm supposed to care for you. I'm supposed to do all these things. And no amount of money should make me not do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to have to get
We're going to have to go.
Look, okay.
But anyway, thank y'all again for coming and talking to me. I know that both of y'all have missed work. I know that, and people have been asking, what can we do to support Miss Muhammed? And I know they're going to be asking what they can do to support you. So anything that we can do as a community, anybody that follows me on social media, what they can do to support the two of you.
They can just hit me up in my inbox and we just go from there. Like they have my, I think I might be tagging your stuff now.
I will say, I didn't know if you wanted me to tag you.
Tag, girl, you know me. Tag me.
Shameless plug. The way that you can support me is support my students. my students are going to Japan.
Okay.
And so it's so funny because through all of this, I say we still going to Japan.
Okay.
You know, that's my biggest phrase. We still going to Japan.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
My students saw that I took a trip and they were like, we want to take a trip too. I'm like, the world is your oyster. Let's take this trip.
Yeah.
So we're going to Japan through EF Tours, and I actually put together a few fundraising.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll send you.
Please send me that so I can post it. And I want to make sure that whatever you do, the funds are going to your kids and not to the school, because I don't want the school to have any ownership of what you do in your funds, because we know they like to use that. If they can't get to you, then they're gonna get to your babies, and they're gonna try.
Yeah, so it's through EF Tours. Even though HISD does have a partnership with EF Tours, this is separate from that partnership.
Good.
So that's why I was like, y'all can get rid of me, y'all can run me off, y'all can do whatever, but we're still going to Japan.
All right, so we're gonna make sure that we send your babies to Japan.
Yeah, we're trying to get
all right, awesome. Okay, well, yes, please send me that so I can put that out there, how we can get your babies to Japan, and then how we can do what we need to do, because you out of jail, you out of days, you still in jail.
I'm not even
out of days, me out of income.
Let me tell you,
we need to do whatever
my lashes
we can do.
are hanging on by a thread. Help a girl out.
People have been more so concerned about helping you. People like, can we do some kind of carpool to help her babies get to school so that she can go serve her time and teach?
I mean, all that will be anything that's willing. I am open to whatever it can do, because that's the main issue, is making sure that I pick my babies, get my babies to school and pick them up from school on time without them, sitting out there.
Yeah, waiting.
That's just
okay. So y'all please send me whatever, and I'll post whatever I can do to make sure I help y'all again. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all's time. The producer looking at me like, girl, hurry this up, wrap this up. So thank y'all, and we're gonna stop right there. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.